Do you feel it's sometimes easier or harder being a dad and being a gig worker?
Oh, that's a good question, man. I love being a gig worker because it gives me the flexibility I need to be there for them. So being a dad and being a gig worker go hand in hand, because I couldn't imagine how needy like my middle child is and how sporadic my daughter might need me. I did some work on her vehicle, her tire. I had to change the lug nuts and the studs. It's like she couldn't go to class because her vehicle was down, and that was a time she needed daddy,
Yep.
So if I wasn't in gig work, I wouldn't be able to do that as soon as I did to get her on the road and doing what she needs to do. So I feel like it goes hand in hand, man. Being a father, seeing them play, kicking the ball like I just did. I get a chance to see them enjoy themselves doing what they love to do. And at times it get a little tough, but I'll never say it's too tough to be a dad, or trying to balance all of it is just too difficult, man. I enjoy every last moment of it.
I struggle sometimes pulling myself away from the money, right? Like I'm having a good day and I'm like, ooh, it's busy, or there's peak pay, or there's this promotion, or there's this catering opportunity, whatever it is, right? Or there's a rideshare promotion. And it's like, okay, yeah, I want to come home at 6 for dinner, but man, I got to make this money. And a lot of us, we need it too at times, right? Like it's not an option. You got to make it happen. Like I sometimes struggle with coming away from the money. Do you ever feel like that? Do you ever feel like there's moments where you have to like make a choice and you don't know if you made the right one?
I used to go through that, and I got over it because when it was difficult for me to make the money I wanted to make, then I will say that I was struggling. I felt like I didn't hit my goal, and I need to hit my goal to take care of my kids, right? So it's like, but once I fine-tuned my way of work, it became easier for me to balance everything. I know I can make more than 200 a day, right? And that's not bragging. That's me knowing my market. I know some drivers that share the same market as I do that can't be as confident as I am saying that, oh, I can make this money. But I have so many apps. I have so many opportunities. I've made so many friends in so many different places. I know how to make my money to do what I got to do. When it was very difficult for me to make $200, which is my minimum I like to make to take care of everything and have the time that I need to have for my kids and everybody. When it was a struggle to make that kind of money, then it was difficult for me to pull away from gig work because I was out there long days, 13-hour, 14-hour days, trying to make that money because I needed to do what I needed to do. But once I understood I could make more and I figured out how to make more, I had a few moments where I was like, man, I just made $400. I want to make more than that, Then I understood also that, okay, what's the minimum you need to make? Go for that and use the rest of the time instead of keep working. Use the rest of the time and go dedicate that to family, watching football together, whatever, So it balanced out eventually. At first it was difficult, but then I had to go through a humbling moment, understanding that my kids need me at home. When they started telling me things like, Daddy, I miss you. Daddy, we miss you. And then trying to prevent me from going to work when I actually needed to go to work. I was like, okay, they need me home, So I realized I had to fine tune my way of work.
Yeah, because, it's funny. Kids don't, I don't know if your kids are like this, but my daughters and my family and friends, they don't care about what I'm doing or if I'm making a video or that, your kids don't care. Like, oh, your UDM Delivers on YouTube. They don't care about that. They require different things. You know what I'm saying? They want time. They want you to kick the ball around. They want to throw the baseball. They want to play video games, like whatever it is, right? Like each kid could be different, but they don't care about what we have going on, right? Like they have their own needs, and kids can be selfish in that way, and that's okay because they're kids. They're still learning, right? So I've had a lot of those moments with my first daughter. I would miss certain things or maybe be late, and I was humbled many times, man. So when you use that word, like, I feel that, and I had a day a couple of weeks back. I came home. Sometimes Ruby will kind of run to me, and sometimes she won't. But sometimes in the mornings I'll leave and she won't want me to go, and she'll like come at the door, and she don't really cry, but I can tell she doesn't want me to leave. And it's tough because, like, yeah, I could probably take the day off and hang out with her, but we still, as fathers, we got to make the ends meet. We got to make the money, right? We have to provide. So that balance, man, can be really tough sometimes,
Yeah, most definitely. I remember there was a year that I was just so busy. I'll never forget this, man. I was just so busy, just working like crazy. And then all of a sudden, the whole family took a trip on me. And I was home alone. And even if I was home, I didn't have anybody to go home to because they were out of town. And I'll never forget, that feeling was a little bit empty for me, man. And I don't know if you've ever gone through this, but I was like, man, I can't do this. I almost hopped on the road, and I almost met them where they were, because at the time they were in Atlanta. And I'm like, man, that's like a 9.5-hour drive.
You thought about going, didn't you? You thought about going.
It's one thing, it's one thing where, oh, they're home. I'll be home in a minute, And it's another thing when you have nobody to go home to, I was like, wait, what? I don't like this feeling. It's no, daddy's home. Come get daddy a hug. And, that helped me understand their needs too, because I didn't even understand it until I felt empty.
So tell me a little bit about your boys, man. You got them in sports. Is it because they like sports? I think you said, your oldest daughter plays soccer, so it got the one son to do it. But was it by their choice? They wanted to try it? Or is that something that you and the wife say, hey, guys, we want you to do sports? How do you guys view the sports stuff in the house?
Well, my nephew-in-law, he plays for Michigan Wolverines. Okay. Oh. He was a household name in the Optimist. Not even in high school. He was a name in Miami that was like, oh my gosh. Is
he playing right? Is he playing right now? He's on the team?
He's second string, Michigan Wolverine. Yeah. He gets in the game. He gets in the game a few times. Yeah. He had a few injuries, but yeah, like right now they have the Rose Bowl coming up, and his best friend, I believe, is one of the top defenders of Alabama. Okay. So I think they're about to play each other.
They're going to play each other. Yeah.
Yeah. So they're talking trash to each other right now. So the thing is, I think on my wife's side, they even had someone from their family. My boys, they don't like dogs, and the dog is loose.
Is a loose dog?
Well, he got loose from his owner. They got him. All right. So, I think they also had like some actual NFL players from their family, that actually made it to an NFL team. Don't ask me what team that was. I don't know. Yeah. But that then transitioned over to my nephew-in-law. Then my sons seeing my nephew, right? And it's like they grew a love for it, and watching him play. Oh, he's in the game.
Oh, yeah. That's a big deal. He's on TV. I mean, he's on TV.
Yeah, exactly. And seeing my daughter play, like she got to go to practice, and they try to get the ball from her after practice when they win, when they lose.
Yeah.
They just grew a natural love for it. And I'm just doing my part where I am nurturing their love for it. I'm not saying, oh, you got to play football. No, you got to play football. They're like, no. Like, one plays soccer because he wants to play soccer. The other one is practicing for flag football because he wants to play football and be like his cousin. Yeah,
cool. That's cool.
It's like that's what's going on right now. So at first he wanted to play baseball. I put him in a baseball camp this past summer, and he liked it, but he also started growing a love for tennis, then a love for golf.
Well, they're gonna like all kinds of things. You gotta let them try and see what they
Right.
like. Sticks and
So when he brought up the love for football, his cousin had a conversation with him, the one that's at Michigan. Then he was like, "Yeah, football, daddy, football." So I'm like, okay. So I'm just trying to nurture their love for whatever sport that they're interested in at the moment, and whichever one that sticks, that's the one we go with.
Yeah, no, I think sports can be really good for kids, man. I've always thought that. They might not always have a fun time doing it because it can be hard, especially if you start taking it serious as they get older. It's not easy, right? But I think you learn a lot about yourself and adversity and like the good stuff, winning or losing. Like, it's invaluable, But if your nephew-in-law is at Michigan, he's a stud. That's a huge program. I mean, he's
D1.
Yeah, I mean, they're the number one team in the country. They're probably going to win the whole damn thing. I mean, whoever beats, this is my thought, UDM. Whoever wins between Alabama and Michigan, that's going to be the champion. That's how I look at it.
Yeah.
So that's a big game,
I mean, and just to see that that side of the family, it's not just on her side of the family. When I say her, my wife. On my side, it's more soccer players and cricketers, right?
Okay.
I'm from the islands.
Yeah.
I have my cousin that played for Leeds United, right? His name is Dominic, right?
You talking about soccer, right?
Soccer, right?
Yeah.
And we have on my side is more of the creativity, like the musicians, the some sports, but the sport is soccer or cricket. On my wife's side, it's more football, or it was actually a surprise with soccer, but football or track, So we have speed, we have creativity, we have all kind of stuff in one pot, man. So
I like to remind the audience that we give the gig apps we give them a hard time, and that's okay. The pay can be shit. They're doing crazy things. It's frustrating. We're driving a car. We got car problems. Like, it happens. But at the end of the day, man, for me, this has been more of a positive than a negative. I don't know how you feel about the gig apps, but how's it been for you? Has it been more positive or negative overall?
It's been more positive, obviously there are those moments where it's just dead slow and then you have to learn something new. And you might get frustrated because it was a bad day. Like, I remember Saturdays used to be a really great day to work, but then Saturdays became a day that was just terrible for some reason. But that happened after the decline after COVID spike, right? But I'll tell you that now that Saturdays are just bad, I just say that's my boys' day. So my wife and my daughter go and do their thing. And I said, nah, y'all can't know where we went. No, that's our day. We go do what we gotta do, Yeah. And then I tell the boys, like, don't tell mommy where we went. No, you can't tell the girls what we went to go do, And they take it serious. They take it serious. But just spending that time with them and just dedicating time to just getting to know them once a week, whether we stay home or we go out, and we might go out to eat somewhere that they want to go to eat. They want to try something new. They want to go to a specific restaurant. We might search up on Google, like, hey, y'all want to try this? All right, let's go. And cool. It's something that I wish my parents did with me, and I'm just trying to do it with my kids, not trying to miss out on time that they might need me around. And especially after being hospitalized with COVID, that really did a number on me. So I'm working extra hard to spend as much time with them, my wife, everybody around me, every close person I got.
This gig work, I know it's doing a lot for me. I can tell it's doing a lot for you. And I know a lot of people in the chat, it's doing a lot for them. I think we just got to we're mindful of that. But like, our kids, man, they just need us, and we're not always going to be able to be there. But I think when we can, it's good that the gig work allows us that flexibility. And UDM, I appreciate you coming on the show, man. Have a good rest of the day with the boys. Tell them I said what's up.
All right, we'll do, man. But before I click off, I'll say thank you for even having this conversation. We always talk about like the how bad offers are, but like you said, you know, it gave us this opportunity for us to be able to do these things with our kids when we're able to do them, you know.
Yep.
And it provides us enough money for us to still be able to take care of home, no matter what anyone out there might think, you know, oh, you know, you got all these expenses. Well, this is why you got to be smart with how you make your choices, right?
Yep.
Um,
Yep.
and I'll just say, whoever out there, whether you have kids or you don't have kids, always make the best of your time, because time, you'll never get that back once it's gone, you know.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
I know some drivers don't mind working 15, 16, 21 hours a day, but you got to be able to enjoy life as well. There's a lot that's around you that you might be missing out on if you don't take time to just enjoy the view. Like right now, the sun is setting. Yeah, I don't want to use the sun metaphor, but sometimes you got to take a step back and just enjoy what's around you and just soak it all in, man, because it's good for your mental health as well. So,
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's a great way to end this segment, man. I think you said it better than I could, man. I appreciate you, brother. Have a good night, and we'll talk soon, man.
all right, bro. Have a good night.
All right.
And deuces, everybody.